What's up, mountain bikers? It's Ryan here. And today I kind of want to just go over the bike, a little review, I guess you can call it, of the bike that I've been riding for the last 8-ish months. And it's a Canyon Spectral 5. A little overview about the bike. It is a large. I'm 6'2", so I'm kind of in between a large and extra large. But based on my old bike, I went with the large just because it was similar geometry and I kind of felt it was the most comfortable. Other than that, kind of a little bit about the bike. It's RockShox forks, Pike Select. I believe it's 150 millimeter travel. But I thought it was 150, but when I was looking it up, it was 160. So I actually don't really know. When I look at the fork, it actually shows 150 and 160. So I don't really know what actually the travel is. But it is a Pike Select. The rear is a RockShox Select Deluxe Plus. With 150 millimeter travel, according to the website I've been looking at. I kind of forgot what I got when I bought it. But yeah, it's 150 to 140-ish travel. SRAM brakes, the Guide T. And overall, it's race faced out. So the handlebars are race face. I have race face wheels. I have race face pedals. The pedals is something I added because obviously the bike didn't come with any. The derailleur is a SRAM also, NX. So how has it been like owning the bike so far? I mean, overall, I think Canyon is it's a unique brand and they're focused on e-commerce only. So they don't have stores, they don't sell any in stores, which is kind of a drawback because you can't really demo them. At least I haven't found any. And it's also kind of hard to contact them for stuff because one is the pandemic, two, they just don't have a physical location. Overall, I don't really have any issues with the bike. The only complaint I have is, there's a couple complaints, I guess. The derailleur has issues shifting the second every once in a while. I'll readjust it and it just loses its adjustment and I have to kind of go back and readjust it. I recently did the 50-hour service and one of the bolts broke off. The bottom bolt of the fork, the one with the rebound, actually just completely snapped off. I was looking online and actually found out that this is kind of a common problem. Called around all over the place, didn't have a bolt. I had to actually buy it online and get it shipped. But other than that, it's been holding up pretty well. When you buy a Canyon bike, because it's e-commerce, they give you everything that you need to set up the bike. All the tools necessary. They pre-assemble as much as they can for you and you kind of come and do the final touches like put on the handlebars, put your wheels in, assemble the brake levers and everything like that. And they give you all the tools for that. You don't have to have anything. So that part's kind of nice. The price is cheaper than a little bit than other brands, but you do get, a lot of things for it. Overall, I think I'm pretty satisfied. This is my first full suspension bike, and I kind of wish I could have demoed, some other bikes in the store, but I actually bought this during like the height of bikes, so it was kind of hard to try different bikes out. So how's the riding experience of this bike? I think this is my first full suspension bike, so I was coming from a hardtail, so take my feedback with a grain of salt. I think it is harder to climb with a full suspension bike and 27.5-inch wheels. My previous bike was a Specialized hardtail and it was a 29er, and climbing from that to this is pretty night and day, I feel like. And the one thing about this shock is there's only two settings. There's open or closed. And when you're actually closed, it still doesn't like fully lock out. I just rode a Santa Cruz Tallboy and there's so many different settings on that Fox suspension where when you turn off the dampering and completely off, it completely turns off. This one, when you turn it off, there's still like some give and some movement and that you can actually feel when you're climbing. Going downhill it's been pretty awesome. I started off and I'm progressing as you see on YouTube, but I'm starting to ride a little bit more rockier trails and starting to do some jumps, and I feel very confident in this bike. I think full suspension in general gives you a sense of confidence But this bike, like, I've ridden it long enough where I know how it behaves and I know how it reacts. So kind of, I feel like I have full control and I know what it's gonna do. The wheels has held up pretty well in rock gardens. The fork has a pretty long travel, right? This bike is kind of rated online in Canyon's website as an enduro trail bike. I think mostly because it has a huge travel. I don't think I've ever bottomed out yet because it's a pretty long travel. I've gotten close, but I think it's nice to know that I have more room to grow with this bike. I don't feel like, I've reached the limitation and I want a new bike or anything like that. So far, I still think the bike has has more potential than I have. So I definitely plan to keep riding this and grow with the bike. So my overall thoughts on the bike, I do like the large size. I kind of wish I would see how the extra large feels like. I don't know, sometimes when I am climbing, I feel like it might be a little bit short, or maybe I need a taller dropper post seat just to make it go a little bit higher. Like I said, I was riding the Santa Cruz Tallboy, and that seat has 170 millimeter travel, which is amazing. I think, maybe I should look into something like that. 27.5 versus the 29 incher. I kind of like the 29 inch tires more, I feel like. The new Canyon Spectrals actually come in 27.5 or 29, so I think that's a huge benefit. It just rides so much smoother, it's easier to climb. You feel like there's more control. I think the 27.5 is meant for like more control when you're taking turns and stuff like that. Maybe that's what I'll progress to someday, but as of right now, I kind of like the 29.5 or 29, but I don't know, maybe one day I'll like the 27.5 again for my current level of experience. And yeah, the Canyon brand itself, I wish that because they focus being on an e-commerce website, they're more responsive. Like, if your business, you're going to tell everyone that you're going to be online only, you should be an expert in that online presence. Like, customer service should be great and awesome, super responsive, anything you need, because you don't have a storefront, right? Like other brands like Giant, Santa Cruz, they have retailers that you can go in and ask questions if you need them. Canyon doesn't have that, so they should dominate the support part, which I don't think they do. Another thing is the brand itself, Canyon. Like, it's not a really big, well-known brand, I feel like. On the trails, I see a lot of Santa Cruz, Giants, Yetis. Once in a while, I'll see a Canyon bike, but the brand is not really well known, which doesn't bother me, but it's just kind of a thought, I had. When I was test riding the Santa Cruz, actually I just rode it today, lots of questions from people. Oh, nice bike. Oh, that's a really nice Santa Cruz. Which Santa Cruz is that? All these questions. Granted, today was a really busy day on the trails. I have never gotten that many questions on a Canyon. Once in a while, someone will ask me, but overall, no one really knows. Again, that doesn't bother me, but it's just something kind of to notice. It's kind of nice to be discreet, I guess you could say. On Canyon's website, they classify this bike as an enduro trail bike, or a trail enduro, one of those. And I think it's pretty spot on, right? It's not quite an enduro bike. I think the geometry and everything is not quite enduro-y, but I think they classify a little bit more enduro because of the travel they have available. So yeah, it's not quite a trail bike. Most trail bikes is like 130, 120 millimeter of travel. This has 150 or 160, depending which source you look at. And yeah, I think it kind of bumps it up a little bit to that enduro section, which I actually appreciate. I bought this bike as an expensive bike, and I want to grow with the bike. And I think as of today, I still have lots of space and room to grow. I haven't reached that capacity of the full potential of the bike. And I'm okay with that. I actually appreciate that I can continue to grow with this bike and move forward, and not get tired of it, or like, oh man, I'm constantly bottoming out, or this bike's not capable enough. I don't feel that way whatsoever. And the final thoughts is price. So this bike is around, I think, $2,899 or $2,999, something around that range. I didn't get it for that price. I got it for a lot cheaper, actually directly from Canyon because it was on sale. But if you compare retail to retail, like what else could you get? A lot of people get the Giant Trance. They have so many different tiers. There's a Giant Trance 3, there's a Giant Trance 2. I think this bike is in between that. The Giant Trance 3 is a little bit cheaper, but the components are way lower. You get very cheap components. The Giant Trance 2, which is more than this bike, I think it's in the 3,000 range. And then the parts are a little bit better. Like when I say little, like very little bit better. And I feel like this is a good price range where you're in between that mark where it has pretty decent components. And then you look at the Santa Cruz lineup, Santa Cruz usually just costs more in general. Granted, you pay for the brand, you pay for the customer service, you pay for, in-store service if you need it. So there's a trade-off, right? If you're looking for a first bike, maybe you don't need all that service, or maybe you do because you want, support when something goes wrong. But yeah, I so far, I think I'm happy with the purchase for my first bike. It's more than what I ever dreamed of, ever spending off of this bike and what I got. And so far, it hasn't really given me any headaches. Like I said, just a couple of things with the derailleur, the bolt braking for the 50-hour service, which Canyon, I'm still waiting for you to respond on. I bought the bolt already, but I submitted a ticket anyway to see if you guys will reach out to me. It's been like 3-4 weeks. I have no response from them. So I don't know. We'll see. Overall, yeah, I like this bike. I recommend it. Check out the new Canyon series. The current one, the 2021, they don't have the 5 anymore, the Spectral 5. It's the Canyon Spectral 7, which is literally identical bike. Except they offer 27.5 and 29 now. And I believe the fork is a flat 150. And yeah, it's a pretty good bike for the price. Hope you enjoyed that quick video. Again, take my review as a grain of salt. This is my first full suspension bike. I'm kind of just explaining to you what I've gone through as a first-time owner with the Canyon brand and the Spectral brand and a full suspension in general. Hope you have a good day. Keep riding out there, hit the trails, be respectful to all the other people on the trails so that we have more trails to ride and they don't start closing things down. See ya!